The bilges are clean, the Detroits are gone, and now it's time to drop in the new engines. But nothing about this is plug and play. These Cummins 6.7s are way smaller than the Detroits, which means they don't come close to fitting the old engine beds. So before we can even think about bolting them down, I have to design, fabricate custom engine mounts from scratch, and it's a big step in the repower, and one that's a lot trickier than it looks.
After more than a year of designing, building, and obsessing over every detail, Blaine's Cummins engines finally made the trip to Steveston. He and Captain Paul brought them over, and let's just say it was a pretty exciting moment. These engines have been a huge part of this project, and seeing them roll up beside Tangaroa felt like a milestone. Blaine's poured everything into this repower, and if you've been following along, you know how much work went into this. So the crane is coming back, and Blaine is
Moving the washing machine out of here, because it's getting picked up and removed. Make way for the new ones!
Watch that corner of the... There we go.
Okay, I need to get right where you are.
Of course you do. In case you guys are wondering, this washing machine works. It's kind of. I think they took it apart to bring it down here,
Yes.
and it's a bit sketchy.
And they didn't put it back together again super fantastically.
No. No. Do you remember the dryer? Do you guys remember the dryer that they took apart to put down here and then put it back together, pinched a wire, so when you touched the dryer and the floor, you got zapped?
Yeah, always super safe on an aluminum boat.
Super safe aluminum boat to pinch wires. Okay, well, it looks good, B.
Anything, just...
So this is coming out with the crane.
Yeah.
The heavy exhaust, those are coming out with the crane because they're friggin' heavy. And then the new engines are coming in. Coming in. And I think what he's gonna do, he's gonna bring the first engine in, Porsche, attached to a pallet. And gonna keep the pallet on her, because she's strapped to the pallet right now, and bring her in and put the pallet right over the engine bay area. That's all nice and clean right there. And then Stella's gonna come in, and she's gonna be hanging by the chain hoist. And we're gonna drop her because there's no mounts or anything yet. There's nothing down there for the engines to go on. So they're just gonna come in and be. They're just gonna be.
And what will be, will be. If you've been following this repower and want even more behind the scenes updates, we've just launched our new website and membership. You'll get early access to videos, real-time progress, and exclusive Tangaroa crew gear we actually wear on the boat. Head to onboardtangaroa.com to check it out and join the crew. This project's just getting good.
And what we've decided is the crane's not going to come back, but we're going to get Straight Marine with our hoist to come back. And once the engines are in at a later date, we're going to bring in the generator, the washer and dryer. There's something else. Oh, the big mufflers I've been painting.
The one.
The one. This one I'll paint right here.
Might as well.
See what happens.
Probably better just wait till it's hanging.
No rush.
It pains me to pull this tape.
I know.
Be real careful it doesn't drop.
Yeah, I'll go get it. I'll put the truck right next to the crane. Is that okay? That's good.
metal, so the police are here.
Good.
So,
They're all standing under like this.
oh, I see.
These go right down by the Detroits. Okay. Blaine, I'll go unhook them.
Oh, I gotta go down.
Oh, that's true.
I don't care how well strapped things are.
Okay, Porsche's going in first. Well, Porsche has to go in first.
Oh, yeah. Is there room to spin it down there? There is. Yeah, I got way more room down there. I was gonna do it here, but I got more room down there. You alright?
Yeah, I was just trying to get this light out of the way. Come on.
You alright?
Yeah, I was just trying to get this light out of the way. Did I just manage to make it worse?
You alright?
Yep.
It's gonna be like 5mm here.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do the same thing we did last time and angle it a little bit to clear it past.
Blaine, call the back end.
Looking good on the back right now. Everything's looking good. Yeah, we're clear now. You'd be heartbroken if that site does Okay. Yep, it's clear. Okay. Yeah, maybe just so I can set it down on something here, or at least where I can get my gantry hooked to it. Because this pallet's not going to quite span this. Actually, hang on a sec. Let me throw some boards. Yep, exactly. That's going to be there.
Your gantry to pull it over? Because you're sitting behind with the pallet?
I should. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll get that out of the way then. Can you pull that gantry across? It have to be a straight side to side. Yeah, that's well. I'm kind of thinking it might help us in this particular case, because I can span the inner side of the stringers here with the pallet.
Get you in further if we took this middle chain on.
Yeah, the only. Yeah, I think we'll try it. If you want to come down with it there, it should sit a bit. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
I look down and see this camera.
I'm not under it. Is it coming down?
How many viewers you get on this?
You have 8,000 subs.
Really?
Yeah. It's growing 50, 60 a month easy.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, the hardest is to get the first 10,000, then it starts just growing exponentially. Because YouTube's like, you're doing something right.
Just spinning you up here.
Spinning. Spinning, spinning, spinning.
Rawhide. Okay.
Rawhide.
Okay, coming down.
Yep. You come right down onto the camera. It's okay. I'll get it out of the way.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
This is a good. It's a good view.
Up in there, not bad.
Blaine?
What's that? Right?
Off the front.
Looking good. I'm probably gonna have to swing it a little bit. All right, ease down.
Okay, slowly, fingers.
Yeah,
Want to
fingers
straighten
are
this
clear.
element for yourself, or
What's that?
want me to straighten the motor up for you?
I wouldn't worry too much about it because it's gonna go everywhere when we try to lift it up with the
Coming
gantry.
down fingers.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you stuck on something, Dennis, or are you under the lip?
I'm under the
Stuck
lip.
on the
Okay.
back.
Yeah, and it's Janice has got it on the front too. So keep coming down a bit. It should start rocking to the port side.
So I wasn't sure if I was coming to the back. Yeah.
You're off.
After more than a year of planning, a bit of patience, and a whole lot of physics, the Cummins were finally in. And now, the real work begins.
You guys are probably wondering if I had a plan in place for any of this. I didn't. I had to get the engine in place first and go from there, because once I see it visually, then I can figure out where to go. Now, to get them into the correct place, that's another thing. I had to take measurements off the old engines, where the couplers sat. I had to get the new couplers for the shafts and make sure that everything shaft related remained the same, because obviously if I get the mounts in the wrong spot, the shafts are going to be in the wrong spot. No end of issues. So basically, first thing I had to do was get the couplers on. So shaft couplers go on, I get the shafts in place. I took measurements at the back where the props sit, so I knew exactly where they needed to be. And from that point, I just hung the engines on the gantries, and I used a variety of ratchet straps to basically twist as well as rotate the engine into position. So first thing I had to do is I had to figure out what angle Tangaroa was at in the boatyard, because they never get you level. So I had to take measurements of that to figure out where the boat was sitting, port to starboard. And then I had to put a level on the engines, and I had to get the engines twisted around until they were level. And it just took a lot of time. So that had to be done absolute first. Once that was figured out, then we could get to making the mounts. So these came from a company down in California called Seaboard Marine. They take the stock Cummins motor mounts and they have redesigned some things, and they are better than stock. And not really much more for money, so it's a good deal, and they've helped a lot with information, so I'm happy to buy from them. This one's got a clean thread on it, the other one not so much. So
So what are you making?
Motor mounts. Engine mounts.
That's a really rusty C-beam.
It is. It'll have to be probably blasted or something.
I can fix it with my little grinder. What you doing?
Taking a break on my back. Taking a break on my back because it hurts sitting on the little chair and grinding things.
Why don't you use my little grinder?
Does that one work?
What are you making here?
I could try your little grinder.
Did you weld?
I haven't welded anything. I'm just prepping the weld areas. And then once these are all welded, I'm going to have them sandblasted so I can paint them pretty. So that's going to be the front motor mount.
Okay.
Short of where it bolts to the block. And then there'll be 2 tabs that'll come off of here and go up to the motor. And the reason why I went with a solid beam on the bottom like this and tied it all in together is because the stringers in the boat are wide for the Detroits, so they're considerably wider than the engines. And if I had just single mounts on either side, there'd be so much cantilever weight on that block for stress, and I didn't want that. So basically this will just be holding up the front of the engine. All the thrust loading will be taken by the engine or the transmission mounts anyway, and they're going to be made out of 3/4 inch plate. Yeah, so I mean these are just built this way to keep the load off the front of the engine and to prevent, you know, heavy stresses on the engine block.
Looks like it'll work.
I'll just take it loose and then I'll tack it up the other way and try it again and see what it looks like.
What happens when you make a really little mistake? That's why you only tack, you don't weld, right?
Super simple mistake, super easy to fix. But exactly, always tack and fit.
So these were supposed to be welded on the outside, not the top.
That's right. Yeah.
Oops.
It's the nice thing about steel and aluminum and all these things. You just knock it off and stick it somewhere else. Today I've got one of 2 motor mounts. The main cross brace tacked up.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've still got to drill the 2 1-inch holes for the studs here. And then I've got to make 2 plates, one for each side on the motor. This is going to be slid way back, obviously. And I've got to do 1 plate that'll mount down to that center beam.
And then I'm going to paint that?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to need paint. Otherwise, it's going to go rusty red.
Well, luckily I have all that Primacon.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just keep using that. And then what color do you want it? Black?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think that'd be the best call.
Cool.
Yep. All right.
Looks
It's all
good.
straight. It's all flat. It'll do.
I like it. It's kind of funky. And sorry, where are those
It's
other?
a little bigger than what I really wanted.
Yeah, no
But
shit.
and if I had access to easy water jet, I'd probably have done something different. But for what I had available, it'll work. And honestly, if it ever bothers me enough that I want to do something about it, I can change it later. So that'll probably never happen. But
Bit sticky down here, Blaine.
yep, just caught my rag on fire, so I had to go dispose of it.
Straight off the boat, onto the pavement.
Yep, pretty much.
Back to the engine mounts. Here we go.
These are just root passes. Because I want to get So this metal is thick enough where my welder is kind of, I mean, I could do it in one pass, but I want to make sure I get plenty of filler in there. So what I'm doing is I've just attached the 2 pieces with a weld, and then I'll come back in here and I'll run other beads to fill that that void. So yeah, these are just root passes just to get it stuck together, and I'm moving around just to keep it from warping all over the place. That's it. So probably what I'll do now is I've welded the front edge here. I'll probably flip it and do the back edge right there as well, so when those stresses are happening on the weld, when it's pulling one way or the other, it kind of equals them out a little bit. It's not as bad on steel because steel doesn't expand and contract as much as stainless does. Stainless moves a lot. This isn't quite so bad. See the back side here, you can see where my root pass was on the other side, so now I'll do a root pass on this side to meet up to that, and I'll just keep doing this until all the welds are finished. This is why it takes so long.
I thought it was just one pass. You're doing like 4 passes per weld.
The metal's thick enough where I need multiple passes to get it. I mean, with this welder anyway. If I had a big 300 amp or something like that, I probably could get it, and it wouldn't even be a single pass. It'd be a single pass on each side. But no, this is how I have to do it with my welder anyway, or how I feel more comfortable doing it with my welder. Maybe. Ho 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 ho! Fuck yeah!
Oh, you've got the mounts though on the bracket you made.
Yeah. So basically that's going to be my front support, and then I'll also have side supports in as well.
Yeah.
I haven't exactly decided where, but probably something like that would work well.
It has to be on the engine, so you have a double weld on there?
Yeah, so basically I've got these mounted up, but the problem is they would wobble side to side because there's no reinforcement there on those brackets. So now I need to do some gusseting in on this side just to tie it all in, and that should keep it pretty rock solid on there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I've just got them temporarily set on the engine just to get an idea of what I'm dealing with. I still have to go sand these and prep the edges and everything, but so far so good.
Are you happy with?
Yeah, it's a really big bracket. Like you wouldn't typically see something like this on most boats, but I've got to hang stuff that'll be driven off the front of this motor, namely a 90-pound alternator. So I need something like a platform that I can work off of.
Skookum.
Something pretty skookum. So
It's
this
skookum.
is my skookum.
It's skookum.
So I have to make this, you see this edge here?
Yeah,
So
why is it on an angle like that?
So basically it's such a thick metal, if I were to just butt two together, like, say like that, and try to weld in there, it's not going to melt down all the way through. It's going to melt the surface on either side, and you're not going to get a complete weld.
So it'll be a pretty weak weld.
It'll be a weak weld, and this is definitely a place where we need as strong as weld as possible. So what you do is, this is, you put a chamfer on it, so when you put them together, now I can do a weld in there, and I'll actually get full penetration all the way through that.
It's too early to talk about full penetration.
I'm sorry, it's gotta be done though.
Okay.
So anyway, that allows for a much stronger weld because you're not just welding the surface of the metal, you're getting right down into the base of the metal as well. So that there will be full welded metal. If I had tried to just butt them together, say something kind of like that, I'm going to weld the surface and maybe a little bit of penetration into it, with my welder at least, but I'm not going to get all the way down into the middle.
It will all spit out.
Basically I would have a weld here, and then I would have a gap down the middle. So
it wouldn't be a very strong weld
wouldn't
at all.
be a very strong weld. So yeah, you do that, then you can get right in there. And with my welder, being it's not as powerful as some to weld this, I can do multiple passes with my welder. I can come in here and I can do a pass down at the bottom just to get all that melted in really well, and then I can stack on top of that. That's how guys weld really thick things, even with big welders. They just make multiple passes. So that's what I'm doing. All the prep work.
Blaine has to drill 12 holes in this really thick steel for his engine mounts. What goes in the holes for the engine mounts?
These are technically the transmission mounts.
Oh, sorry, transmission mounts.
This is actually the one that bolts to the transmission, and then your mount goes through there. So just trying to get something good and beefy on this. Transmission's where the thrust loading is anyway. I mean, the front ones help as well, but yeah, I'm just trying to get a nice, good, solid, beefy rear mount on this thing. So as you can see, we've got gussets in. This is all 1/2 inch thick, and then the plate on the transmission's 3/4. Not that it really had to be, but that was the material I had to work with. So that's my mounts. They should do the trick quite nicely. And that's 1 of 4. And there's my first of the rear mounts. I'm actually pretty proud of that. That turned out really well. I'll have to get see if I can talk Jim into welding that permanently for me, because unfortunately my wee welder is pretty tapped out for thicknesses like this. Not to mention it's a TIG, so it takes for freaking ever. So hopefully Jim will be able to help me tomorrow maybe. And here we have Stella sitting on her own 4 feet. That is all bolted up and actually resting on the motor mounts. So she is where she's going to be. Now I'm going to start working on Portia and getting her up and mounted. So that's my other mount here I've got to put together on the other engine, and then I still have to build the rear mounts. So I'm going to get her lifted up into position and get cracking here. Probably finish this by the end of the weekend. I'm making boots.
You're making boots! Those actually look like little boots.
These are the plates that mount to the front of the motors. So that'll mount to my motor mount plate.
Have you given up on the coupler?
For now, yeah.
Can't get it on?
I've got ice being made to cool it off, and I'll pop it in the oven after.
Yes, we need ice. Lots of ice to fit this engine.
So that's going to sit like that.
Oh, that's good. Such a cute little boot.
Yeah. And then I've got to do another one off the side to gusset it in, like I did with the other one.
It actually smells good in here, like welding.
Yep, there's some welding happening. Should be able to get those on, and then I've got somewhere hiding in this pile of stuff here. The other, actually I think they're outside. I'll have to clean them back up again. Get that on the go. That's enough with that.
Are you almost done?
Yep. Well, kind of. I gotta weld. I gotta make this notch cut here, and then I gotta weld these guys onto this plate. I've got to trim off these corners here. Then I got to finish weld everything, and then I have to. Then we can paint. And we can mount the motor. Then I have to pull the rear mounts on the other engine and make this same notch in them, because I think they're going to be too close to the engine mounts. And I think when the engine shifts forward under load, it could hit the engine mount. So I'm just notching around where the engine mount's going to be. Yeah. It's pretty slow with this welding. I don't really want to MIG weld inside the engine room because you get a lot of spatter everywhere, and I really don't want spatter going everywhere. So I'm taking everything, which is really slow, especially being as my machine is borderline for being able to weld this stuff. I'm having to make multiple passes, so it's just a slow, time-consuming process.
But it's working.
It's working, yeah.
Oh, you just got tacked together now.
Tacked, and I've done some root welding inside some of the deep areas here. But it's coming. It's not pretty, but a little tricky to get down in that area.
It's okay, we're going to paint it to make it look pretty for you.
Oh yeah. Well, my cap weld will be pretty. So just getting the meat down in there.
Getting the meat. You're going to get these done today.
Hoping to. It's going to be a long day of welding, and I'm going to have to give my welder breaks because it's not really meant for this kind of duty.
But I know you really want to go to the Hello Kitty Cafe.
I'm going to take a pass on that one.
You sure?
Yeah, you know, lots of hard work to do.
But it's the Hello Kitty Cafe.
I know, but as much as I'd love to, I got too much to do.
But it's the Hello Kitty Cafe! Come on, Blaine!
Yeah, nah.
I couldn't believe Blaine skipped the Hello Kitty Cafe to weld. I mean, look at what he missed. Pink walls, cupcakes, and a 2-hour line. Total regret, I'm sure.
Hello.
Good news.
The engine mounts are done.
For Porsche.
Yeah, that's right. So technically for all of them now.
So Blaine is grinding away, trying to prep it to get some primer on it.
Just smoothing out some of the weld stuff.
And
Not that it's bad welds, just I prefer it to be smooth than weld finish.
And as soon as he smooths it all out, I'm gonna paint. Unless Blaine does. He really likes to paint. We'll see.
That might be stretching it. I don't actually really like to paint.
Okay.
I'd actually prefer to not paint. I hate painting.
Well, get to it. Let's see if we can get a coat of primer on it today.
Shake it up, baby, now shake it up, baby. Twist and shake.
What are you painting it with? Primer. Okay. One coat. It's really windy, so we have to time this sucker.
Probably one coat.
Okay.
It's the fun part.
So we don't paint aluminum, but we definitely paint steel.
All right, we're all dry. We've had 24 hours to tack up and get to the point where we can actually handle them. So I'm gonna take these loose and hand them up to Janice.
Ooh, got it. Maggie, move. Move. Got it.
Rear mount's in place. I'm just working on getting the front mount slid in here. It's a little tight here always. just due to the way the mounts are designed. But yeah.
And this is Porsche.
In there. This is Porsche.
Oh, look at the rear mounts. Good job, Blaine.
Yeah. So once I've got those fully drilled in too, but I've got to get the front mount up against the engine, and then I got to get the actual mounts, these guys, slid in underneath them. And then I got to mark them.
Sorry, those have to get slid under where?
Under here.
Okay.
Because this is going to go up quite a ways, because this hole has got to go way up here. Yeah, I got to get that in place, and then I have to lift it up far enough and then shift it over enough where I can drill the holes. And then I got to do the same thing on that engine.
I thought you were done the starboard one, Stella.
The mounts are all made, but I've got to drill them in. I've only got them placed by 2 bolts on the rear mounts right now. So I'll have to it's easy enough. I just got to run the gantry back over when I'm done with this one and just lift it off its feet for a couple minutes, just enough to mark the holes. Drilling through the struts is super easy. So yeah, the stringers, easy peasy.
Now this may be a question. Why does Porsche say Dodge on her and Stella
I have no idea.
does not?
That's just the covers that came with the engines. So I don't know why that one doesn't and this one does.
I think we need to remove that red.
Oh, we're definitely
and put
removing that.
Porsche there.
Yeah.
And then Stella in red there.
Porsche and Stella, that's right. And these engines, unlike our old engines, they've got block heaters as well on them. So when we're in really cold weather, I can wire them in to turn on the block heaters for the engines and keep them warm.
That's smart.
Yeah.
You don't have to plug it in like the vehicles we used to have to do in Ontario.
No, I'll have it where it'll just be on breakers where I can turn it on.
So smart.
Whenever we're going somewhere. Actually, I probably have it on timers where I can just turn the timer on for X amount of time.
It's like auto start with cars.
Yeah.
Pre-warm.
So pretty stoked.
How's it going?
Good. Porsche is bolted down, short of alignment stuff. She's in place, and motor mounts are fantastic.
They're drilled in also?
They're all drilled in.
Starboard
ready.
too? Stella?
Stella's not yet. I've got to get the gantry back over, connect it up, lift it, and pull the rear mounts off. And then I can drill the holes when I have the mounts off as well. So,
Is it beer time?
It's 6:15. I think I could probably do a beer. Yeah.
Let's do it. What are you doing?
I've pulled up Stella so I can trim out these mounts like I did on the rear of these.
Stella's hanging.
Clearance for the motor mount. And then I'm drilling the holes while I have it up in the air as well, so I can permanently bolt it down.
Okay, so you're putting in the mounts like this one. So these ones are permanently?
Yeah, they're drilled. I don't have the bolts in them yet, but they're drilled for the bolts.
Okay, so
I
this
just
is
like to
Porsche.
Yeah.
This is port, even though it's backwards for you guys. And starboard you're drilling right now. How thick is that aluminum to drill through?
I think it's like 3/8 inch thick,
That's
but
not
it's
bad.
aluminum, so it's easy.
Oh, you've got one bolted on.
Yeah, those
Point to that engine mount there.
are the existing bolts. These holes were already here,
Yeah,
and those are drilled and tapped because it's right on top of the rib.
right.
So you can't get a nut on the back side of them. So those are my locators that everything's built around, and then I just have to open up these smaller holes here to make room for
Nice.
bigger bolts.
And this is looking good.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Very nice and organized.
That's the plan.
So what's your goal for today?
Today I want to get these mounts cut and then put back on again and get this engine back down in place. I've got to find some bolts for the prop flange or the shaft flange. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then after that, I'll probably start looking into dismantling our gantry system here because we won't need it anymore.
Won't we need it for the mufflers?
I don't think so. That was part of my plan.
Because we got to get that
figure that out.
up there.
We do, but the gantries don't go out that far anyway. So the rear one doesn't, the front one does. So I don't know if it's going to be useful for that anyhow. Last time I just lashed over the top of these beams and pulled it across that way. So we'll see.
Time to do some sketchy sheet. Doo-da, doo-da.
Yeah, that's going to be not a lot of fun, getting those back over again.
Okay.
Now I got to move one of the holes that I just drilled up there because I drilled on my wrong freaking cross.
Oh no, you made another mistake? Don't you hate when that happens?
Yep, know you've been in the yard too long when
We're just drilling holes
brains
now.
are fried. Yeah, so I got to move one back there.
Oh well.
But, yeah.
Have you eaten yet?
Not yet.
Why don't you stop and go have breakfast?
I was debating it.
Because then you get your head on straight.
Yeah. Yeah, I was debating it.
Go get some cereal.
But this engine's down.
It is! Hi Stella, welcome on board.
And it's, everything's notched out around the motor mounts, so it's got room to move. So,
Stella likes to wiggle.
yep.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Yep.
Okay, and you're going to get Portia set down today.
Yep, definitely going to get that done. I've got to tap one of the holes in the frame rail over here, or the stringer over here, because it's right on top of one of these ribs.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to be drilling down into the aluminum rib. I'm not sure if I have a 1/2-inch tap, so I'm going to have a look.
Ooh, might have to borrow one from somebody.
Might have to. So things don't always go smoothly. And when you sit in a boatyard for months, you start to get a little bit burned out. You start to make mistakes. So yesterday I realized that I had made a mistake. I was building the engine mounts, and what I had found was that my starboard engine mounts, when I went to do the final assembly on them, I actually only threw in 4 of the 6 bolts into the side of the transmission, and the plate was backwards, which in effect that shifted the transmission forward by, you can see there, about that amount. So I had to pull these mounts off, and I was going to do this yesterday, but I was so annoyed and upset and unmotivated that I just couldn't be bothered. So this morning I went down, I've notched the transmission mounts, which I had to do anyway, so I had to pull the mounts off, and then I re-drilled the holes on these. So these are now placed in their proper orientation, and they're now notched for the motor mount. So Stella is back in her permanent position, and shouldn't have to do anything more with her. And then also, of course, Portia is mounted up as well. So now I can move on to the next steps, which is probably going to be getting the mufflers remounted and starting to plan out my exhaust, because I really need to get the exhaust portion done, at least to the outside of the boat, so Janice can finish up her painting, because she's going to have to epoxy barrier it. Then she's going to have to get some paint on it, so I really got to get that done. So I'm going to get on that and see if I can't figure out how I'm going to be mounting up these mufflers. I have a bit more room now, so that opens up some options. See what we figure out. All right, that is 2 mounted engines. Love it.
If you're wondering how we turned a pair of truck engines into marine power plants, check out we rebuilt 2 Cummins truck engines to put in our 78-foot boat. That's where this repower really began.